Alrighty, we got some folks joining in as we kick off our lunch and learn session today. So yeah, let me go ahead and get things started. Make sure all the buttons are pressed, my screen is shared, recording is going, and we seem to be good to go. So welcome everyone. This is our mostly daily lunch and learn, where a decisions expert will sit on a call for an hour at lunchtime from noon to 1 p.m. Eastern time and answer any questions you have. Any questions about the product, something you're stuck with, how to do something, maybe an error you've hit, maybe the future of the company, those sorts of things. And so decisions will put a number of different employees on here with different ranges and levels of expertise and different specialties within the company to help answer any and all questions that you may have. So this week, you've already got to talk to Will and Brandon. Will being our VP of Client and Support Services, oversees quite a bit of the company and has a ton of expertise and knowledge and history of decisions. Brandon from our support team. And today you get me. I am Eric Welmerink. So I've been with the company about a decade now. And in that time, because I started when we were a relatively small company, I've gotten a chance to do a little bit of everything. I actually originally started as a junior developer, and then throughout the years have done our IT ops and security compliance. I did support and professional services. I led our doc team and helped rewrite a bunch of our documentation. Most recently, I was a trainer traveling around the world, training our customers on the best ways and usages of the Decisions platform. Today, I work for the product team. I'm a product manager, so I work really closely with Will and our engineers and Heath Oderman, our CTO, to make sure that we are building the product that best serves our customers. So I care quite a bit about the roadmap, about the future of decisions, about new features, things we're developing, how you solve your problems, and those sorts of questions. But with that being said, I also have quite a bit of experience in the tool itself. And then lastly, tomorrow you'll get Andrew. Andrew is one of our longstanding professional services team members. He's just wonderful. He understands really complex builds and how to do some crazy things in the platform as well. So yeah, that's a little bit about me. And yeah, let me go ahead and dive in. The way this works is as we go forward, you can ask any questions you want in the question and answer panel or the chat. Both of those are buttons on the Zoom webinar sessions. Additionally, if it's something we want to discuss, you can raise your hand in the participants panel, and we're happy to let you come off mute so that we can dialogue and discuss this a little bit as well if you're comfortable with that option. We have a couple of pre-submitted questions, and if there are no questions today and you're just here to listen, I'm happy to talk about the roadmap and some things that are coming up in the Decisions platform that I think are really exciting. But we had a couple questions come in, so we'll start with those. Just as a note, in case you missed it, end of life support for Decisions. Yes, we've set end of life and have followed through with all of our versions up through version 6, which means that version 8 is our currently publicly available, generally released, newest and latest and most stable version of Decisions is version 8. So if you haven't gotten a chance to upgrade, strongly encourage you to do so. You can get help from our support team or your customer success manager. Just reach out to them or support@decisions.com. We're more than happy to help you out. Version 7 is now long-term support, so we'll still be providing security patches and fixes there for any sort of those types, any sort of major bugs. But for the most part, those hot fixes and patches, are going to be lesser than the major version 8. We have some exciting news about version 9 that we're going to be publicly releasing in a little bit more formal way soon. But I've talked about this, and since I own the roadmap, I can kind of sneak it out there a little bit. And that is that version 9 we are targeting for the first quarter, the latter half of the quarter of next year. We'll be starting some beta programs starting in January, some early access and those sorts of things, and a lot more formal announcements about what that version is going to contain and the major updates there. I'm happy to talk about a little bit today if we have some time, but just as a note there, we're really excited about the next major version coming out. And then last and not least, I can talk about this because it's me. If you are interested in the roadmap specifically about a little bit of our history, where we came from, what we're currently working on, what the next 6 to 12 months and even a couple of years looks like, I give a presentation every other week on Thursdays from 11 a.m. to noon Eastern. And that's just kind of a standing webinar we host. You can check that out at decisions.com/events. And yeah, it's a way for you to dialogue with me or with Will Pedersen, who also helps kind of lead some of the product management initiatives. And we can walk through questions you have, talk through what the roadmap, see what's coming up down the pipeline, and we'll talk a lot more about version 9 in those meetings as well. So check that out. That's something that we're really excited about. All right, so my 5-minute rambling aside, I don't see any current questions come in, so I'm going to go ahead and address one that came in ahead of time and talk a little bit about assignments and decisions and some actions and things we can do there. So I'm jumping over to the Decisions platform. I am on a newer version of Decisions. So if you see some discrepancies between my version and yours, think of this as like 8 plus. This is kind of an early access of version 9, but I'm not officially saying that just yet. But anyway, the question that came in, it says there's a built-in action called change assignment. Sometimes our users don't get to their assignment. Is it possible to create a flow where I can trigger that action manually? Yes, absolutely. There's a lot to dive into here. So what I did to kind of help set the stage for this conversation a little bit is I created a really simple flow that has an add task step, and all this add task step does is take in a name and action. It has a really simple form I built tied to it, and then you can click the button and move forward. And so what the question is when you create any task in decision, so if I just run this flow, let's give this an action of, take action and an assignment name of, fill out your PTO, whatever your assignment name may actually be, and I click run. When you do that and you get an action, oh, I didn't mean to close that dialog. You'll notice that the actions that you can take on there's the take action. This is the one that opens the form and gives you to do work. You can, manage the entity if you have appropriate permissions to do so, like putting it into folders or moving it around or getting links to it. But the one here that was asked about was change assignment. This is, yes, an out-of-the-box dialog that you get on any task as long as you have permissions to do so, where you can click the task, you can update to the priority for the task, you can change the assignment for the task, such as, say I want to remove the admin as the assignee and assign it to all users in the portal. You can add a little additional message here that says, okay, go ahead and you do this, I'm lazy, whatever your message may be. And then if there's any new assignees, there's this checkbox here that will say, hey, if this person didn't have the assignment previously and this change assignment adds them, let's make sure they get the new action as well. So since I changed the action to all users, I now see the new message here with kind of the pop-up here. The question came in, it says, sometimes users don't see them or get an assignment, so is there a way to just kind of manually control that process? Yes and no. So this dialog can't be changed. This change assignment dialog can't be changed, aside from writing like an action rule to remove it entirely from the screen. However, if I go into any flow, and we're just going to create a new flow and call it manage assignments. I want to show you a category of steps here that help you do some of the work around change assignments and some of those behaviors. So if I come into my toolbox here, I'm just in a normal workflow, and I go to integration, internal services. And if you haven't gotten a chance to check out this catalog of steps, internal services is all of our internal methods that are available that really control the decisions platform, the things that create accounts and add users to groups and run workflows and do all sorts of behaviors. All of them are available as an API, really as a REST service you can call. It's also what we reference internally to do all these behaviors that like when you right click a task and say change assignment. So if I open the assignment internal service and look at the steps here, and it takes just a moment to populate, and I'm going to make this a bit bigger, you will see a large number of steps all related to fetching, updating, deleting, getting properties for assignments, like creating brand new ones. The task or the method that you saw there before, change assignment. This is here, changing it to a new person or user or group or permissions, and then which assignment am I actually changing it for? So you're going to see a ton of steps inside of here that give you management and control of assignments. You also see a bunch of like fetch methods here, like get my assignments sorted by a certain way, get a specific user's assignments, get, where's another good one? Is this thing assigned and in a folder? So most of these things will be here. So I'm going to put a quick disclaimer about all of our internal service steps. These are typically, because they're more kind of ROM methods that we use to control the platform require a little bit more expertise or knowledge to run, like knowing the assignment ID in order to do the change, change assignment action on top of it. But you have a ton of flexibility and power with this toolbox. So change assignment is the actual method that we have here. So the question asked that came in that says, hey, can we trigger this action manually? One path forward would be to create a flow that has your change assignment property here, change your assignment step here. You could even put your own custom forms inside of here that give you certain control and constraints around what properties you're setting on this change assignment. You could then update and change priorities, but essentially you would write a flow that does that change assignment action, and then you'd place that on any assignment that you get created. And I'll show you that second part in a minute. So this is one path forward. I think there may be some other ways to solve your problem as well using some of these internal methods, but since I'm not 1000% familiar with all of them, we're going to explore this one here. Now, a question came in. It says, what is change D2 in the change assignment step? That is a typo. What it really is it's asking for a list of, this is a custom field, but it's asking for either IDs or groups if you want that modification. Really, that dialogue you saw when I originally did change assignment, it's all of this and whether you want to set it. Now, what most people would do with this step is set this to like build data, and then they would pass in the assignment ID of whatever assignment they're trying to change the action for, and then they would go in and set who the new group is, who the new ID is, what your notification message may be, whether or not you notify them, etc. So again, does require a little bit more setup. I would have to either pass these values in, have a user fill them out on a form and pass them in, set them hard-coded or constant so that they never change. So I would control exactly how this change assignment behavior works. And then I think to the spirit of the original question, I could put an email step before or after. I could put a telephony step before or after. I could integrate with some other system and show a pop-up notification somewhere else. Yeah, really by putting this in its own flow, I get complete control over how this works and feels. So the way I would tie this in, so that's the first answer to the question. I'm going to take it a step further because I can't help myself and just save this even though this isn't work for now. The way you can tie new actions or limit the actions that you see on an assignment. For example, I don't have one anymore because I got rid of it. So if I create a new assignment really quick and just call it AA and come into here, if you wanted complete control over this list of actions, which actions are shown, or you wanted to create a brand new one. So to finish the use case, if I wanted to get rid of this change assignment action and put my own custom one in the actual assignment itself, you also can do that relatively easily. There's an option under the create data types action for any designer folder underneath configuration extension, where you can add basically extra configuration to any entity inside decisions, either one you've created or additional ones, or ones out of the box as well. So if I go find my assignment structure, the assignment data type, all the tasks and assignments that are created using that add task step in forms, and I add a configuration extension to it, and essentially another way for me to extend the normal capabilities, now I can use this extension folder to add additional flow steps for access patterns, to add additional events, like if someone deletes or saves an assignment outside of just completing it, what flows run or what sort of behaviors occur. A couple of the things here is you can write an action visibility rule to limit or show actions that show up by default. And then you can also write custom user actions. Like if I click it and I want to change the assignment, I would create a brand new user action. So there's a ton of things you can do with configuration folders. I won't go too far down the weeds on this one, but check out our documentation site on that, because configuration folders in general, the ability to extend anything in decisions, any folder, rule, flow, and have custom actions or custom visibility on them is really powerful and really cool to do. So just to do this one very quickly, let's say, get rid of change assignment. This is the default action. The way these rules work is you can put things like who the user is, what group they're a part of. I can even interrogate data about the assignment itself and limit actions given information about the task itself. But if I just wanted to limit it entirely, I could say if not the entity, let's get rid of that. if the action that I want to filter out, if that action's name equals, I want it case insensitive, yes. Change assignment, I think is what it officially is. And let's hope I spelled things correctly. Now this rule runs and it says if this rule runs true, filter out whatever action I'm referencing. So in this case, it's going to filter out change assignment. So I jump back into here. We create a new assignment and we're going to do this as BB. So I can have a new name here. Now, I keep clicking that too fast. If I click B here, you'll notice I don't have the change assignment action available anymore because I have a rule that's filtering it out globally for anyone trying to access it. And of course, I could make this rule as robust as I want. And if I wanted a custom user action here that says, I won't call it change assignment because that's going to be confusing. Let's call it, Eric's cool redo. I don't know. That's not even a better name, but it'll at least be unique and something we can recognize. Then in this flow, I could come into like my integration internal services assignment. We can hit the change assignment thing. And I think in one of the questions asked earlier, what is change D2? I think it's a typo, but I'm not going to say that. I think this should just be change 2, but I don't think that D is supposed to be there. But regardless, let's go ahead and say the ID of the assignment I'm trying to change is the one I'm right-clicking. So that's my entity dot, should just be ID, right? It might be entity ID. Entity dot entity ID? Entity, I'm going to expose some of my lack of knowledge here. I assumed it would just been ID. Entity dot assignment ID. Okay, well, I guess that makes more sense. And let's just go ahead and change this to a constant for now. We're going to assign this to the administrators groups. I think this is their ID. Again, I'd have to double check this. A message that says hello will notify that person, and then I'm not going to set any of this other information. Maybe the priority will switch to urgent. Sure. But all this is to say, again, I'm doing a really rudimentary example here, is now if I create assignment C and say run, CC, run, and yes, I am going to say no here, you'll notice that on B and C, I now have Eric's cool redo action. And when I click that, it went and gave me the new assignment, said hello. I could show forms in that custom action that, popped up the dialogue. So I have complete control over how I can really write this action context menu, write custom actions to it, control that behavior, etc. I know I went way far down the weeds there, but since it was the only pre-submitted question, I felt it was okay to dive a little bit deeper. Hopefully that answers the question. If it doesn't, please feel free again to just type in the chat or Q&A panel if you have more questions tied to that or would like to see anything else. But that is that is how I would approach updating that change assignment dialog. All right, cool. I'm going to dawdle for about 30 seconds to see if any other questions come in or hands get raised. And if not, then I'll talk about what I want to talk about for a few minutes. Nope. Okay. Going once, going twice. Sold. All right. Well, then I'm going to talk a little bit about our roadmap. Again, this is pulling some information out of our Thursday presentations we do. Again, the next one will be a week from tomorrow on the 15th, I believe it is. Did our slide say the 16th? Isn't that the 15th? Hold on. Now I got to look at my calendar. It is the 16th. Wow, I can't do math. Today's the 8th, and 7 days from 8 is 15. Don't let my math skills be an indication of our quality of our product. But anyway, that being said, let's talk a little bit about the roadmap because we're nearing up kind of the end of all version 8 and moving into version 9. And so I really want to talk about what's coming up next. What are the big major initiatives that you can look forward to and think about when it comes to rolling out version 9 and those things that we're going to be doing. I've talked a lot about kind of major development themes this year. Development themes this year were around strengthening version 8, getting that up to really performance standards that we have set for ourselves. we've exceeded some of our batch performance metrics and goals and timings for things like rules and API response time and those sorts of things. So then we spent a lot of R&D effort initiatives around these three primary areas. The first, organization and deployment. When you start to grow your use cases and decisions and build out more and more rules and more flows, having that all in an unmanaged folder tree can be a little bit daunting. And so an unmanaged folder tree where you're not really clear on what work is tied together, what work is dependent on each other. We wanted to update drastically the way that you build and conceptualize stuff in the decisions platform. And then, of course, that directly ties to deployment. When you move artifacts or move a project, a set of work from one environment to another, I'm done development and I'm moving it to my testing environment. I'm done testing and I got to push all my work to production. Today we have a service called the repository, and it works. The mindset is developer centric actions and moving work from one to another, one environment to another. We wanted to change the paradigm a little bit to be more in line with kind of more IT ops operations. I have a new version of my project I need to deploy during this maintenance window. How do we solve that problem? So we're rewriting the deployment from the ground up. But that's kind of the major theme of the year. In addition to that, we wanted to take a big, strong sweep through all of our designers and just do some modernization. So this is going to come in the form of designer just enhancements, updating the iconography for them, updating the steps, updating the paths that you draw between flow steps, updating the properties that show up when you click a step. So there's a lot kind of just getting generally updated for the UI UX of all of our designers. So looking at all of the space on a page, maximizing the efficiency of it, removing old properties that no one uses, those sorts of things. This even comes down to when you like right click an object in decisions and the menu that pops up for context there. We've taken a look across the whole board and we really just want to make development in decisions seamless, fast, and easy. And then last but not least, and a major theme for this year, and you may have already seen this on our documentation site and throughout releases, is actually streamlining out some really old features. Now, 90% of this comes in the form of things that no one even knows exists in the platform because it's buried or hidden, or just not even usable. It's broken. And so we took a look at the product and said, hey, we want to be good at the things we're good at, and the things that we've built over time, in a decade plus of a product, we want to make sure that we're taking out these things that either don't work or we've made improvements to or have a better way to solve the same problem. And so those were the major themes, and it's really come into kind of these major initiatives, which should say like 2024. This is the theme for development in 2023, and we're going to be going for 2024 stuff here. So yeah, so here with the three major things coming in. First is projects. This is the way that we're going to update the organization of the decisions folder tree. So in the folder panel, when you go in decisions, you see all your folders on the left-hand side. Now there's going to be a top-level organization view of that called projects. So all of your work in decisions will be constrained and managed into groups of work called projects. These projects will be where all of your work lives. It's where we can set kind of settings around both visually and like error handling and those sorts of things around in the entire groups of work. And then it's going to be how we then move and deploy those things across multiple environments, which then leads to the second big box deployment server. Yes, the big methodology here is we want to make the deployment server a place where you go to see all connected environments, the versions that they're on, the status of those projects, and then to manage all of your deployment activities, to be able to schedule deployment for a maintenance window. We imagine the type of user here is not a developer who has expertise on the intricacies of debugging a rule, but rather they can say, I'm scheduling this activity for a maintenance window at 5 p.m. because that's when I can deploy a new version of this work. And so kind of being able to have a central location that manages your projects and then is where you do single button deploy, automate the deployment, automate the unit tests and report back is where we're going to be doing a lot of work there. And then last but not least, designer and theme refresh, I mentioned a little bit. Yeah, there's just a sweep across the board of a number of major updates there. And I did see a bunch of questions come in as I went through that. That's just, I was filling in some time as I just kind of want to talk about some exciting things on the roadmap and things coming up. All of this is kind of wrapped around now what we'll be calling version 9. Oh, we got a couple questions come in. Join late. Not sure if you guys are still taking questions for today. Absolutely, yes. There were no questions for a period, so I just started rambling about our roadmap. But if you have questions, please feel free to type them in here, and I'll be happy to answer them. Next question that came in says, do you plan to work on the mobile portal, at least to support JavaScript and CSS? Yes, the mobile portal, we are working on a number of updates. We just did a complete mobile portal rewrite in 8. Well, I'm going to miss the number 14. A couple versions ago, a version 8, maybe even earlier, 8.13. But it's a complete reskinning and rebranding of the mobile portal. So if you access decisions from a phone, from Safari or Chrome browser on your phone, we've updated how it looks and feels. We've updated all the actions, how you can go through and run forms and do all that sort of work, etc. To support JavaScript controls on there, yes, we're actually have a number of customers and partners who are looking at exploring more capabilities around the mobile portal. And so there are some DTs and discussions now around how we're going to go in and support some of those activities. Now, there are some differences between the mobile portal and the browser portal, naturally, because on a mobile version, you don't have a mouse with left and right click actions. So, naturally, there's going to be differences between the way I left and right click a control or fill out a control and the screens that pop up, etc. So there are some innate differences there. But what's something we're exploring now, and I would extend here, is if you do have use cases around the mobile portal and you're exploring that, please let your CSMs or support submit support tickets. Copy me on them if you can, eric@decisions.com, because we would love to support more mobile operations, and that is on our roadmap as something we're exploring and looking at to make better. So. Dashboard's still not picking up CSS on a dashboard. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'm not 100% positive. I'm not a great CSS guru or understand it at length. But again, we're doing some work around some styling and theming there. So please feel free to submit tickets, and I'm more than happy to get those looked at and see what we can do to fix those there. I'm going to answer someone else's question first because it's coming out. When is V9 coming? It's no official date is set yet. As product manager, I can tell you that we are targeting early Q1. We would like to get a beta out and some information out very, very soon. So we're going to do some early access stuff very early in the year, and then target a release later Q1. So that's something that you can look forward to. We're gonna have some more official, formal announcements coming very soon. So I won't give any spoilers here, but we're targeting some early years there. And yeah, that's actually a great question. Right after it says, if you need beta users, yes, please, Alex, I see you're the one who did it. I will absolutely be reaching out. We would love to have some, we're going to have a private beta and a public beta. In both of those phases, we'll be reaching out to a number of people to ask for help with testing and stuff. I will add your name to the list. If anyone else on this call is interested, please either post in the chat or just shoot me an email, eric@decisions.com, and I'm more than happy to take a look and add you guys to that program. All right, now I'll jump into someone else's question. It says, is there a way to update a date and time output? For example, one step outputs a date time. I want to update the time only from that output to 11:59. Okay, so you're looking at managing date time objects in a flow. Ooh, this is good because this is something I'm relatively weak at. So let's take a look together. Manage date time objects. Let's go see. So if you have a date time object, so let's create a date time object here. So I'm going to use a create data step. If you're not familiar with the step, all create data is a way for you to literally create variables or sets of data or things that you can use later in your workflow. We're going to call this Eric's date time thing. Out of capital. And I'm going to make sure that this is a date time object. And of course, I don't get a time picker here, but this is actually a good example. So I'm going to set this to 11:08:23. But I know if I go interrogate this data, that now my time is probably set to whatever the default is, so midnight. So if we look at the output of my flow here, yeah, perfect. So I have a date of 11/8/2023. Well, I guess the default time is right now, 9:30, which is my local time. So if you wanted to then update just the time portion, I think is the question. Make sure you want to update the time only from the output to a certain time. How would you do that? I don't know. I'm going to take a quick look here. If I go into the date category of steps and go into dates here, let's see if there's any really obvious step here that's going to help me do this. I would imagine maybe it's called like a set time on date. Hey, I'm going to hope that this is just exactly what I need and I look really smart. Um, but we will find out in just a second. Okay, so let's look at this step. It's taking in hours, minutes, seconds, and a source date. So obviously I'm going to hand in the source date as my Eric date thingy. And then for your example here, you wanted to set it to 11:59 p.m. I do believe that this is going to use military time. So we're going to try 23 hour, 0 minute, 0 seconds to be 11:50. I guess that's 59th minute would be what I want here, not 0. And oh, I set the name to 59. Cool. Let's go ahead and see if this does what I expect it to. So just to check, the output of my date here is 9:30. If I come here, it should still be 11:08, which it is. So my output time is 23:59, which, military time would be, 11:59 p.m. So yes, I can. It looks like the step is in the category of steps under data dates, and all the way kind of towards the bottom of this massive list, there's a set time on date step that'll work. And then, yeah, just as a cool note here, if you're ever trying to do things like manipulate numbers, deal with dates, want to know what documentation steps we have, under the data catalog of steps, we kind of break out all of these steps by type of data that you're dealing with. So for example, PDF is a good one, right? A lot of people need to deal with PDFs and you want to kind of know what our PDF capabilities are. Just go to the data PDF catalog and you can see that we can add and remove passwords. We can add watermarks. We can combine two PDFs together. We can split them up by page ranges, etc. So that's how I was able to find the step, is because I had a hunch that I'd find a step helpful in the dates catalog for adding a time, and I was fortunate there. Cool. You're welcome. Happy to answer that question. Another note came in. It says run flow in report cells not clickable in mobile, as well as URL parameters are not supported. Yeah, okay. No problem. I mean, yes, problem. That's unfortunate that things that since we've done a major rewrite of kind of the how reports and dashboards show in the mobile portal, we it's been difficult because we don't have a lot of customers or users who are actively using mobile. And so what I would say is, for sure, get a support ticket in. I would love to personally meet with anyone who's using the mobile portal and see all of your different use cases so that we can do kind of a big sweep of updates and changes to them in one time. So yes, I'll grab your name. I'll reach out to you. But I'm pretty sure I know who you are, VT. But let's chat. I think this is a good opportunity to kind of break down what you're using the mobile portal for, what your use case is, what kind of things you're looking to do, and then we can see what updates we can make. But in short, so everyone wears, yeah, the mobile portal is an interesting beast to wrangle. We have a number of customers who think they want it, but then never actually use it because it doesn't really serve a workflow engine as well as it kind of conceptually think it does. And so we've struggled to make large improvements or iterations on it purely because not many of our customers are using it. So if anyone here is using the mobile portal, has a use case for it, is trying to build in it, and you're hitting any sort of issues, please let me know, because we do want to make that experience easy to use and with as much feature parity with the desktop versions of the corresponding features as we can. So that's just a note for everyone. I would like to make the mobile portal better and put that on our roadmap officially. All right. Cool. I don't see any other questions come in. Okay. Talked a little bit about our roadmap. I can go on the roadmap for hours, but I won't. I think that's a teaser for if you want to see more about the breakdown of the current initiatives. Go ahead and check out our roadmap sessions next week on the 16th. Yes, not the 7th, not the 7th, not the 15th. But yeah, there's some exciting things coming. I can pretend to show you guys, like I'm not showing you anything here about the projects I'm going into and all of the work that is contained inside of a project and the default dashboards that you get with them. I'm definitely not showing you guys that. So, all right. Any other questions? Let's kind of, I'm gonna hang out for another few minutes here, see if anyone has any more questions, anything you need answered. Nope. All right, going once, going twice. Well, thank you all the folks that joined and asked questions. Again, if you need anything at all, if you want questions about feature sets, roadmaps, removal of features, any of that sort of stuff, please just email me directly. Just Eric, eric@decisions.com. I've thankfully been here long enough. I don't have to type my last name every time. So you're happy to do this. Oh, I just got a question come in. Never mind. I'm not going to close things down. I opened a support ticket on this, but I can expand the question. I was asking about the transaction controls, start, commit, and rollback. Can I be on speaker for a few minutes? Yeah, you bet. Let me do this. That should allow you to talk, sir. Yeah, go ahead. Let's chat.
Thank you, Eric.
You bet.
Yeah, I opened a support ticket, but probably I wanted to expand this a little bit. I looked into the documentation about the transaction controls, the start, commit, rollback. The document itself doesn't show, maybe you can, database transaction.
Yeah, the start, commit, rollback. Yeah.
Yeah, the document doesn't show where you put your transactions. I imagine that they are steps that go between your start and commit. Oh, I did not see this document. Thank you.
Oh no, you bet. No problem at all. Yeah.
The document that I even attached the link to in the ticket. There's a direct line between start and commit, right? And I asked, is there where you put your CRUD? And yeah, actually, the answer is yes. Good, thank you.
Cool.
So, but the question is, what you do with other databases? Because I think that this is for the standard decisions Microsoft SQL database. But if I have a Progress or MySQL or something like that, I don't know, does decisions, when I create a connection to say Progress, sorry, not Progress, Postgres or MySQL, does it create those steps as well?
I think for Postgres it does, and that's a big think because I'm not connected to Postgres right now. I'm pretty sure this is a horrible answer. I'm pretty sure it does for Postgres, simply because I know when we allowed that to be one of the backend supported databases that we enabled all of those features. I at very least remember a conversation. So what I'll do is I'll pull the support ticket and I'll go ask the devs specifically for that one. For the other ones like MySQL and like some of the other ODBC connection databases that we support, I know that we haven't done transactional kind of database manipulation with them yet. So if there's one that you're specifically trying to use, you mentioned Postgres, so I'm sure that's one. But if you're going to use MySQL or
MySQL is the cheap one, easy one, right? And it's
let me where's my notepad?
MariaDB or whichever other incarnation, because I think that they all work similarly. However, because the asset part of the transaction is it may be peculiar to each, right? So I don't know whether Oracle, MySQL, and MariaDB will have the same. The steps would be exactly the same from decisions perspective, right? Whether one could serve.
Yeah,
even though databases are pretty much interchangeable with each other. I don't know whether at that low granularity level the steps would be.
Yeah, so I'm taking some notes here so I can follow up.
Yeah. So
I'm not familiar.
The steps that are provided are exclusively for the decisions Microsoft SQL Server is correct, right? That's what
correct.
I assume.
Yes. Yep. Your assumption is correct there. Yeah, 100% correct. I'm not sure, and I'm fairly sure that that's also true if your backend is Postgres. But again, I'll double check that. And I'm wondering if this document can answer that for me. No, it specifically just talks about, yeah. Okay, so I'll follow up and get some more details there. But yeah, your assumption is correct, and I think I'm not familiar enough with like MySQL transactional stuff to know for a fact whether or not that's supported or even like something we could support. But I'll make note of this. We'll go dive in a little bit and I'll talk with the engineers.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, of course. You bet, man. And here, I'll post this document link in the chat as well.
I wish I can show you the one that I submitted because it did not have it. Maybe the guys added it last night.
It does say it was just updated 2 days ago, so it is possible. It is possible that you were looking at an old one, or maybe like the old version 7 one has not been updated.
I was looking at 8, but anyway.
Hey, it doesn't matter. Yeah, we tricked you. We got you the bad. This one looks old too. We got the new document in real quick apparently. Yeah, this one looks like the old one. Okay, interesting. But yeah, cool. Hopefully that helps.
Thank you so much.
You bet. All right. I did get another question come in. It says, is there a way to close the browsers tab, a browser tab without using JavaScript, like with end form session? I don't believe there is. I know we've had this request in the past, so it's not the first time I've heard this idea. But so the question Artie is trying to answer what I'm going to go look at right now is there's a step called end form session. End form session is great because whenever you're displaying forms to a user, you can control the behavior of that user's session or what the user's doing with forms, like displaying a message, closing the dialog or window, displaying a message, and then navigating somewhere, just navigating, opening a new URL and tab, etc. I believe the problem with like closed dialog window, right, is you want to close the whole tab. And I believe it works if you do this you're only loading the form session in a tab, like you're integrating with the form and embedding it somewhere. But it doesn't work if I'm logged into the portal and have a portal session on top of that closed window. So for example, if I'm logged into the portal, let's actually just do this real quick. I'm going to create a new flow so I don't mess with any of my old ones. We're going to say test form session. Oh, season. This is because I want to test a theory of mine to make sure I'm giving you good information. Let me pick a form here. Here's my simple form. I think that just has a button. I don't know what's on the simple form. Oh, good. It just has social security number on there. So nothing sketchy at all. And if I run this, I give my number, whatever. I say go. Oh, it needs to give me a valid SSN. Okay. And then we're good to go. So that if I wanted to control what happens after I close that form, I could say end form session, and one of the options here is close dialog window. Now, what I think happens, and we're gonna, like I said, we're gonna test form session, is if I run this in its own dialog, but I'm logged into the decisions platform, I believe it just closes the form session and just closes it out. Yes, that's true. But I also think that if I try to integrate with this, which I actually need to enable, so I come into here, we're going to enable with the user interface. We're going to save and open this and get the URL. So say I give someone this URL, which for me is localhost. I believe this will try to close the whole tab. Nope, it didn't. I may have done something wrong there. Bummer. Okay, well, my theory is incorrect. The big issue with this, honestly, is that it's browser specific. The way that you close browser tabs is browser specific, and so we haven't put the effort in to understand if you're using Chrome versus Edge versus at the time Internet Explorer. So I guess it's just not something we ever built. Hold on. I swore I could get this to work. Maybe it's under here. Oh, it's under here under additional options, maybe. No. ID, directory. We auto restart. Maybe it has to be a guest. I'm not exactly positive. I thought there was a way to do this, but I clearly am not remembering correctly. So again, yeah, it looks like it's just something that we're not supporting at this current moment. And that's something I'll look at adding a ticket to. So I'll write this down. I'll add a backlog ticket for it to see if we can take a look at it. Bummer. I thought I was gonna have a cool answer here. want to see if this just works. Now you got me all curious. Save. I rerun this. Oh, here. Yeah, that shows the message, and then it did close the tab. Huh. Okay. I knew there's a way to close a tab. Okay. Well, there's a way to do that. I'd have to look at it. It says you might have to use it in a sub dialog flow. Okay. Yeah. So I think we could get some of that behavior, but it's not great. And if I wanted to close the whole tab, it looks like I don't have a good way to do that. So yeah, again, that's a good time. I'll make note of this and get a ticket in, and we'll kind of figure out what your use case is and go from there. Cool. Anything else exciting? Yeah, I don't think so. All right. Well, I've answered a few questions and done my best. I have some follow-up action items here for a couple of folks. And then we'll go from there. But yeah, thank you everyone again for attending. I will officially wrap things up now. Hope you all have a wonderful day. If you'd like to attend tomorrow, who did I say was attending tomorrow? Andrew, right? Andrew? Yeah, Andrew's great. One of our best professional services guys out there. So bring all your hard number questions to him. He might be able to answer them better than I can. But hope you'll enjoy the rest of your week. Have a wonderful weekend, and I'll catch you at the next time I do one of these or at the roadmap presentation next week. So have a good day, everyone. Take care.